Pearce and I met through a mutual friend. Sending our first messages on Discord, we first connected through the art of video effects. At the time, I had no clue of the impact he would have on my life. One day, I learned that Pearce played Minecraft. Given that I had grown up playing Minecraft, I was ecstatic to learn that Pearce shared a similar admiration for the game. Naturally, we began to play Minecraft together, which acted as one of the first major stepping stones in our friendship. Eventually, Pearce introduced me to some of his friends. We began to play all sorts of games together, which started to form a friend group between us. However, Pearce and I did not deviate from our creative ways. The entire reason I met Pearce was thanks to my friend Sean. Sean and I shared a love for video trickery, akin to the shorts of Zach King and Kevin Perry. We would spend hours upon hours making our own goofy home videos, and we always craved more. One day, while searching for how a certain effect from a TV show was created, Sean stumbled across a YouTube video by the channel Keyboard Inc. The effect was fairly intriguing, enough so that Sean happened to leave a comment on the video. This got Sean and Pearce talking, and it was only a matter of time before Sean introduced me to Pearce. Keyboard Inc. was initially a YouTube channel for a film club Pearce was a part of. However, as time went on and the film club disbanded, Pearce would go on to inherit the channel as his own. He would upload frequent VFX tests, each showcasing a different effect he would create. His progression was meteoric. He began to pick up advanced programs such as Blender and After Effects. Of course, Pearce's skills began to rub off on me. I started to use Blender. I attempted to use After Effects. Anytime I needed help, I knew Pearce was by my side to help me. I would continue to persist with these skills, making creations of my own. Pearce and I grew very accustomed to this relationship, a sort of student-teacher dynamic. Me and Pearce shared a similar background with creativity as well.
I don't know why, but I was watching YouTube videos and I was like, I'm gonna learn Unreal Engine. I'm gonna make video games. And then I literally convinced I convinced my parents to download it for me. And I was like, I'm gonna be so good at this. And I gave up immediately because it was really hard. And then I was like, what else could I do? And the rest is history.
Neither of us started out wanting to directly pursue a creative career. In fact, we both started out wanting to create games. For Pearce, video effects, among other creative endeavors, became a passion after he struggled with game development. For me, although I did not yet realize it, making things was my side hobby that took up all my time. Put simply, Pearce got my creativity in full swing through his teachings. All the while, I continued to grow my friendship with the entire Canadian friend group, until I saw Pearce in real life. Meeting up with him alongside my other friends solidified our friendship in a way that was impossible online. Although a little chaotic and uncoordinated, the majority of my friends ended up meeting me in a park, and we hung out and explored nature all day long. Now, as you may be able to see, I have little to no footage of this. I regret this now, but I can also understand that I was not focused on recording every little detail. It only saddens me now to know that I have just memories of that day. Contrary to what you may expect, I did not fly home and immediately get back to creating. In fact, I did quite the opposite. This time period for me was simply not characterized by creative output. I did my schoolwork, spent time with friends, and I simply didn't make much. There was no creative block involved, just a lack of effort. I continued at this for a very long time, solemnly making things that I was truly proud of. In the background though, Pearce was changing. His videos went from looking like this to this. Pearce's artistic breakthrough began to inspire me yet again. I got back to making. I spread my creative wings and I flew. I made countless projects. I painted. I made vlogs. I made digital art. I made Let's Play videos. I made music. I made clothes. I was on a creative peak, higher than I'd ever been before. At the peak of my creative mountain, I began to look down at the hills around me in retrospect. I looked back at where I began and where I was headed. Ever since kindergarten, I knew what I wanted to be. My love for Minecraft inspired me to make games of my own. So, my mind was set. I wanted to be a programmer. Up until this point, I'd continued pursuing that goal. Now though, I looked at where I was headed, and I didn't like what I saw. The thought of being stuck in an office, many hours a day, working on the same monotonous projects scared me to my core. It felt so free when I had been creating, yet all of a sudden, my dream to be a programmer made me feel trapped. I didn't want it any longer. So, I decided that I would not pursue a career in programming. Instead, my mind was set on a more creative job that I had already enjoyed greatly, graphic design. Although this recounting isn't my story, Pearce is why I'm even able to tell it. His constant admirable behavior had always inspired me to do better, ultimately transforming my greatest value to be creativity. His actions alone acted as a model for me to follow. He was the teacher who never spoke to me. All the while, my Canadian friends and I were closer than ever, which is why I went back to Canada last summer. My parents and I were already going to Washington, and they said we could go back to Canada. This time though, I had to ensure that I would remember this. Before I left, I grabbed my handheld digital camera. We met at a newly opened Hello Kitty themed cafe in downtown Vancouver, and the line was out of the door. None of us felt like waiting that long for Hello Kitty themed drinks, so instead, we just decided to spend our day around the city. We went to a candy store with an insane selection. We ended up getting grass-flavored soda, the so-called world's spiciest gummy bear, and Osama bin Laden-themed cola. Then we went to a thrift store where all of us tried on crazy outfits and looked at their selection of other various trinkets. For lunch, we found some food trucks at a plaza in front of the Vancouver Art Gallery and took some pictures outside the front. Finally, we waited for a bus to a market called Granville Island. While we were waiting for the bus, a bird actually pooped on Pearce's head, so we had to go to a Starbucks bathroom to wash his head off. We got to Granville Island and ate dinner, and I left afterwards. The next day, I went to Pearce's house for a sleepover. We went to a pizza place down the street and had a great meal. We went back to Pearce's house for a little bit, and we played a sort of Russian roulette game with the world's spiciest gummy bear. We put the spicy gummy bear in a bowl with all the regular gummy bears, and we took turns drawing from them until someone drew the spicy bear. After that, we went to a park further down the street. We rode bikes at the park and overall just goofed around.
Do that again. Do it again. I wasn't recording. Towards you or waiting? Away. Ready? Yeah. Oh, man. Guys, I can only record 54 minutes of video.
After the sunset, we went back to Pearce's house, watched a movie, and went to sleep. In the morning, we ate breakfast, and once again, I said my goodbyes to all my friends. This time, after I flew back, I did not take a break from making art. I painted the rest of the summer, spending time with family and friends along the way. As school started up, I found myself more busy than ever before. I felt like I lacked free time to do what I wanted. However, this only fueled my creative fire. When I did get a moment of free time, I made art. I pumped all my ideas out quickly and faster simply because I had to. This acted as a limitation in the short term, but it ultimately resulted in me being more creative overall. As of now, I continue to try to push myself to create as much as possible. The entire reason I'm making this video is because I wanted to push myself to make a creative submission for an English project. As for Pearce, he continues to do the same. He's currently in a gap year between high school and art school, and he uses his time to create. So, me and Pearce got on a video call to look at our journeys retrospectively. When did you start making visual effects and why? Just sort of give me a story.
Okay, it's a very bad story. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I mean, it's not a bad story. It's just like kind of a lame story. Like, I was literally like 10 or like 11 years old, and I don't know why, but I was like watching YouTube videos, and I was like, I'm gonna learn Unreal Engine. I'm gonna make video games. And then I like literally convinced, I convinced my parents to download it for me, and I was like, I'm gonna be so good at this, and I gave up immediately because it was really hard. And then I was like, what else could I do? And then I was like, whoa, there's this program called After Effects. Gosh, too bad I can't download that right now. I guess I'm gonna have to ask my parents for a computer for Christmas. And the rest is history. Yeah,
is there any specific work of yours that gives you pride? Like, what's your favorite piece?
This is kind of a hard one to answer, because like there's obviously like the best piece I've made, like objectively, quote unquote. It's not objective, like, you know what I mean. Like the movie about things and stuff is like the longest thing I've ever made. It's the most effort I've ever put into anything, and it's good. I like it. It's good, but like, I don't know. I don't think I have like a favorite piece. Like that would be a contender, because I think that one's more of just like it's my favorite because I put so much effort into it. But I think Little Timmy Thinks You're a Freak is a really good one, because I made that in a day. Yeah, while working on another project that never came out. Because it was actually a scene from another project. And I was like, let's just make this its own thing. And I made it one day. And it was, I think that's what you're supposed to do. I'm being 100% honest. There was no lip syncing, the close-ups looked really ugly, but it doesn't even matter. Because like people laughed at that one, and I think that's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you need. Also, the intro was sick.
On a similar note, how do you define success?
Wow. I think I used to have an idea of success that I think a lot of people have, where if I just like made my magnum opus, then I'd finally get everyone's attention, and I'd become really famous. And you start to realize that monetary success in art is a bit of a lie, right? Art isn't really a meritocracy. The best art you'll ever see, you'll never see, and that's kind of tragic, but it's the way it works, right? So I don't know. I think success, it depends on how you define it, but I think, again, it's kind of like a vague answer. Like there's no right way to succeed. I think like it's just like what you're left with. Like I don't think, like if you take away the aspect that your skills or like the quality of your work defines its success, then I think all you're left with is like how you feel about it. So it's just like whether you like what you make and you have fun making it. That's it. That's like literally it.
For the whole time I've known Pearce, he's always acted as an inspiration to me. Leading by example, he has shown me the path to finding my creative side. I've seen how I can express myself through art thanks to Pearce. However, our paths have begun to diverge. A main reason for this is simply in the mediums we create. Pearce focuses on more short films and other videos, while I typically focus on image-based mediums. I actually think that our creative distance is a good thing though. It shows that under Pearce's guidance, I have found my own pathway to personal achievement and success creatively. It also means that Pearce continues to inspire me to make art of my own, not exact copies of his. I think that this will be the future of our relationship. A continued guidance not in ideas or skills, but in creative passion that we share. As we each go down our separate paths, Pearce will continue to inspire me with his dedication and authenticity.
Thanks for watching.